what do you consider some red flags in friendship? Happy almost Memorial Day, everybody. As you can see, to celebrate, oh, can you see? To commemorate Memorial Day, I am wearing my t-shirt with little flags on it. Fun fact, not that we have fun facts on ɪnˈdevə, but hey, we might start. I wore this t-shirt in Buckingham Palace. I'm not sure if it was appreciated. Before we get started in today's video, a couple years ago, I got tickets to go through Buckingham Palace, which was an incredible experience, and I was feeling a little tea in the harbory and wore my American flag t-shirt. And when I walked up to the counter to get my tickets, obviously I'm talking in my American accent, and the lady's like, where are you from? She was talking in her British accent. I'm not going to attempt a British accent because mine's pretty bad. And I was like, I was about to say America, and she's like, oh, I can see by your t-shirt, America. And I'm like, don't you know it? Anyways, so happy Memorial Day. Thank you to those of you who have served. If you know of someone, if your loved one laid down their life in service for this great country, thank you. Thank you to your family. Thank you to the men and women who've given their lives for this country. We would not be who we are today as a nation. We would not have the freedoms that we have without that sacrifice. So I thank you. Getting into today's video, if you remember from last week, I talked about the survey that I sent out that asked people questions about friendship, and I got so many great responses. It was just blew my mind. I thank you so much for all the support for those of you who have taken the survey, and if you're interested in taking it, I would be happy to open it back up again. Drop me comments, let me know if you would be interested in taking the survey, because it's really interesting. It's totally anonymous, it takes about 5 minutes, and who knows, maybe your insight will get featured anonymously, of course. One of the questions posed was, what do you consider a red flag in friendship? Some people didn't answer it. That's fine, you don't have to, but of the people who did, it was about 160 responded. Out of all those responses, the word dishonesty was featured almost 40 times. Nearly 40 times was the word dishonest used and those descriptions of what a red flag is in friendship. So last week when we talked about communication in friendship and putting in the effort and all that stuff to be a good friend and to stay in touch with your friends, let's look at the other side of that, because of course it is extremely important to put in the work of friendship. But there's sometimes, and this is a pretty heavy subject, and I really wasn't expecting to get into this topic this soon in the channel's history, but I think it's pretty important that we cover it. Also, if my eyes look red, it's because my allergies are going crazy. May in California, what are you gonna do other than take your allergy pills, and which I should do. Okay, going back. So over almost 40 times, the phrase dishonesty was used. Dishonest or dishonesty, some variation of it. If you're in a situation and you have found out that a friend has not been honest with you, what would you do? Would you rank it on a scale of, oh, it was a little bit important, it didn't really mean that much, versus, oh, that's a hefty lie, that was not honest? Would you decide on a scale? How would you determine it? What would make you say, I might need to reconsider this friendship? Because people, right here, people have said that dishonesty is a red flag. So a red flag does not mean, oop, you gotta cut them out of your life, but it is a beginning stage for sure. So at what point does that dishonesty mean you need to move away from that person and distance yourself from that person? Well, I think I have the answer. And if you disagree, comment down below. I'm happy to hear your opinions. When someone else's dishonesty hits the point that it's affecting you, that's affecting your life, affecting your relationships with your family, your friends, your faith, if at some point that person's dishonesty is affecting your life, that is when you need to start creating a separation. Many times with the phrase dishonesty or dishonest in the survey, people said gossiping, because you could put multiple things. You didn't just have to select one word, you could write a full response of what you think. So people who said dishonest often said stabbing other people in the back. Are those characteristics of friendship that you would want to have? So whether or not you agree with, oh, dishonesty means I should cut someone out of my life, you also need to reflect on the fact of, does that mean that this person is providing a healthy relationship for me? Am I, like the scripture says, iron sharpens iron. People sharpen people. What you see, what you interact with is gonna shape who you are. So you might not be a dishonest person, but someone who is dishonest toward you or about you, that's gonna kind of shift your perspective, especially if you just say, okay, I'm okay with it in the beginning. Does that make sense? Let's hope so. So, other red flags. Gossip. Like I said in a couple videos ago, if someone is gossiping to you about someone else, what makes you think they're not gonna do the same thing about you to someone else? If it's a person's nature to talk about someone else, then it doesn't begin and end with you. It started somewhere else, and it's certainly not going to end with you unless a serious life change happens, which is unlikely. Dishonesty, gossip. Jealousy was mentioned about 10 times, so it was not the leading factor of red flags. It was not showcased as, you know, the biggest red flag or whatever, but it's definitely a part. Some people went into detail, some people didn't. What I draw from that is that people who cannot support their friends, who are jealous of their promotion or jealous of their grade in school, wherever you fall in the life spectrum, if someone cannot be happy for you and support you, at what point is it time to create a separation? Now, this is totally subjective. All of these things, everything I say is dependent on your life. Not everything I say is going to apply to you specifically. That's just how it is. Everyone's life is different. As a librarian who works in an elementary school, I see this all the time. What reading method that I showcase to a class is not going to work for every single kid in that class. So everything I say in this video is not going to apply to every single viewer. But there are some scriptural truths and some life truths that are just there. So if you're 15 and your friend is jealous that you got that dress, am I saying that you should just be like not friends with them anymore? Not necessarily. I'm just saying that you can make a difference in that friendship to curb that person's outlook to support your friendship down the road. There might be a time that you need to cut someone out of your life for dishonesty, for gossiping, for jealousy, whatever. That's totally subjective. That's something you need to discuss with the leadership in your life, your parents, whoever you trust, your sister, your brother, whoever it is. At that point, that's when you evaluate that kind of thing. I can't tell you when that time is. That is something between you, your family, whoever you trust enough, your husband, your wife, whatever, whoever you are watching, that you've got to establish on your own. All I can say is present what I know and in the data that I have to show that to the majority of people, those 3 things in particular are red flags. Now there's more. There's a lot more. And an interesting thing is that they definitely vary by age. Let's take a look. So from the data, people who were under 18 tended to be more concerned with gossiping as a red flag, whereas people who are a little bit older tended to see dishonesty as the red flag. So regardless of the stage of life you're in, you're gonna see things in people that you don't want to be around. It's up to you to decide who you want to have in your life, what kind of spirit, energy, vibe, whatever you want to call it, you want to have in your life. So take these things into consideration. What do you see that kind of just rubs you the wrong way? Take note of that stuff. Keep it in your brain. Think about it. And on the flip side, look inward. Are you dishonest? Do you gossip regularly? Are you a jealous person? All of that information that you just went through in your head is yours and yours alone. Process that, think about it, journal about it, and maybe you'll see some patterns that you want to work on, that you see a trend that you need to steer away from. And that's what Frend-devə is. Frend-devə is a place for you to work on yourself, for you to work on your friendships, for you to create friendships. And while we talked about some pretty weighty things in this video, they're not all going to be like this. We're going to talk about fun activities that you can do with your friends and things that I've done and funny stories and stuff like that. But for now, take it into consideration. Look back on your life, look back on your decisions, look back on what other people have said or done to you, and maybe notice if there's any patterns, any trends, anything that helps you be a better friend or helps you sustain your friendships better. Life is hard, but it's a lot easier when you're doing it with the right people. For those of you who are already subscribed, thank you. If you have not already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to like this video. If you've got a question, comment down below. Friendship is a journey. It's an endeavor. I will see you next time on Frend-devə. Happy Memorial Day.